everybody. You are listening to I'm Over It. My name is Atlanta DeCadenet Taylor, and this is my podcast.
Hi, everybody. I am here with Miss Susan Alexandra, a iconic New York City purse and accessory designer.
Hey, girl.
Also, like, in general, just epic. It's not even just accessories or just jewelry. It's a whole world, really. It's the whole Susan Alexandra world. That is, it's true. I can't wait to get the dog collar. By the way, I need the dog collar. I need the dog collar.
Acorn really, truly, I don't know how Acorn is living without the dog collar. It's weird.
No, I know. He definitely needs that. And yeah, you got a whole, like, when I went to, because was the musical that you just did, the musical presentation, which was incredible. Was that your first? That wasn't your first presentation, was it?
No, it was the third, but it's like, I think it was the biggest scale. Yeah.
Of course, there was the
it was like, I think it was
too.
It was the biggest scale, so I can see why it seemed like it. It seemed like a debut almost. But yeah, that was the third Fashion Week presentation in February, which is 5 years ago.
No, yeah, I was like, wait, I was like, no. So if you don't know, Susan had an epic Fashion Week presentation, and I guess had a presentation at New York Fashion Week.
Yes.
This last February, and you want to kind of tell people what it was, because you can probably explain it better because it's genius.
Yeah. So I always felt like to be a fashion designer, Fashion Week was just an integral part of that. But my feeling was that the way Fashion Week functions, which is, models walking down runways, and it's very short, and it's beautiful, but then it's over, and that just didn't resonate with me. And I wanted to make something that conveyed the same things that I want to put out into the world. So something very joyful and inclusive and funny and vibrant. And so I always challenge myself to think of ways that we can we can show fashion in a way that's not conventional. So, i.e. not a runway show. So we did a musical for Fashion Week, and it was an original 15-minute musical that Atlanta was at.
It was so good.
And it was very biographical or autobiographical. It was about a girl who just wants to be creating and wants to be included in fashion, and like the rejection of the industry, and then just sort of finding this power within to just do it and find the inner support. And I think, when I was making it, I was like, and you have to tell me what you think of this, but I was like, is this like such a woe is me? Like, oh, I just want to be part of fashion, blah, blah, blah. I was like, I want to make something that, like, this musical I want people to feel like less alone with it. And I hope, like, did you take a message from it that wasn't just like fashion?
Yeah, of course. I mean, as you said, I loved how inclusive it was. I thought that was so incredible how many different kinds of people you had involved in it. That was like amazing to see. I also think that the way, like, sure, the story, I guess if you were to just like take everything out of context and it be like, oh, I just want to be in fashion. Yeah. But the thing is that your actors were so amazing. The story, it was funny, like the whole thing. So it wasn't at all like, oh, it was very funny. Like it was campy enough that like you understood it was like a play, like you're making fun of yourself in your own way.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It was not like, I don't think you took yourself seriously at all, if that's what you mean.
Yeah, and I feel fashion is so self-serious, and I think it's so exclusive, and I wanted to sort of flip that whole thing on its side,
Yeah, it was so good. It was so,
Thank
so
you.
good. Is it online anywhere, like for people to
Yeah,
see?
it is.
Cool.
It's on my site. I'll send you a link.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we'll put it because it's so good.
Oh, thanks so much. I am so glad that the impact was felt because Atlanta, like it, it like took everything out of me.
Yeah,
Like
for sure.
I was a shell of a person. Those shows are so much work
I'm
and
sure.
so emotional, you
Yeah,
know?
I'm sure.
Yeah. So
So, okay, so that one was epic. And then before that, you had the bat mitzvah, right?
I did. So the bat mitzvah was in September, and it was just like a really joyful. I was thinking about like why I love fashion and what my first experiences with fashion were, and I bet you could relate to this. But like when you're in seventh grade, your entire social calendar revolves around bat mitzvahs and
Yes,
bar mitzvahs. Did you have that too?
I did, but I did. Yeah. Yeah, no,
Like
definitely.
just like
It's Mark's bat mitzvah,
yeah.
16th. Yeah.
Yeah, and I just remember like it was the first time where I was like, oh, I can't wear the same dress ever again. Like I have to have a new look each weekend, and so I think that was my first taste of what clothing and accessories could be. And so I was like, I want to go back to that place. So yeah, the bat mitzvah themed fashion show was like very nostalgic.
And you made yarmulkes out of beads, right?
Yeah.
Which is
Yes, I
so
know.
amazing.
I need to like make those for real, I feel.
So good. Okay. And then what was your first one? Your first one was the coffee shop or
Yes.
like the Mel's drive-in kind of vibe,
Yeah,
right?
it was
Yeah, okay.
the first one was at a deli, and we had the waitresses wear costumes and like hold a bag but also hold a tray of milkshakes. And
Yes.
yeah, so and that was just because I love food, and I was like, what a dream to blend food and accessories. Like that's really my
Ideal.
two interests. Yeah.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think something that you do really great is one, like, I hate using the term brand, but I think there's no other way to describe it, but like something that's really special about yours and why I've always gravitated towards your product even before I met you was because it's fun. It's
Yeah.
well made, it's cute, it's fun, it just makes you feel happy, you know what I mean? And there is, like, in fashion there's so much like snootiness, like and your whole thing is super inclusive, and I fucking, like, I remember seeing your cast and just being, this is incredible, like I'm so
Aww.
happy to see this happening on the stage. Like it made me so happy. And then when they all had their, I mean, I'm gonna have to put it in the
Yeah.
podcast because it's so good with their costumes and like the makeup, like all of it was so amazing. It was really cool.
Thank you. That really means a lot. Like I haven't reflected on it in a while. So thank you for reminding me of it. That means a lot.
Of course. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's good to bring that joy. It's always one of those things, like, and I only have, I think I only have one of your bags, actually, the leopard one.
Leopard. Yeah.
Yeah. But anytime I use it, it just makes me happy.
Yeah, I feel like there is so much conversation. I know you've been part of this too. It's just like there's so much consumption and there's so much stuff. And I feel like when we make things, like they have to be made not just thoughtfully, but like they have to create some sort of emotion and connection. And you have so many, like even the outfit you're wearing is so beautiful. Like this, it looks like a shirt, but you're saying it's a dress.
It is the dress. And
Ooh,
it's see-through.
it's hot. I love. Yeah. So, but I just feel like when we put stuff into the world, it has to have it has to have a meaning, you know? And so I'm really glad that you can feel that, because when I make a bag, I just want it. I want people to connect to it. And I think that happens just because they're different. And they're also they're made with a lot of heart, and they're made here in New York.
I was going to say,
And
so kind of, can you explain the process of how it's made? And because I read that you like the story of how you found your partner.
yeah.
So what can you
So
tell us about that?
yeah, okay, so first of all, I should say that I feel really fortunate because since I make everything in New York, the shutdown, the quarantine hasn't really affected it because
Mhm.
the model that we make our pieces are just by default, it's all women artisans. So, and they're all moms, which is actually really interesting. So they're mothers who otherwise they're new immigrants, most of them, and are pretty much unable to get other jobs because they don't speak the language or they're unable to leave their homes. So what they do is they have like a team captain, which is the woman that the way I got started is I met this woman in Chinatown who was working at this little shop, and I walked by and the shop was full of beads and it was super eye-catching and sparkly and I was drawn in. And she was this artisan and she doesn't speak English, and her son, who's like I think now at this point 14, he's our translator. And so she was my first artisan and we still work together. So her name's Lisa. So Lisa's a team leader and she has like 50 women who work under her, and they're all moms who work from their home. So once a week she goes and picks up all the bags, and then I get the bags from her. Yeah. So they're all working from their homes, and yeah, it's created a lot of jobs for her community.
That's amazing.
Yeah, but I think that's why you feel like it brings joy, because I really do feel like there's like a difference when people are really happy or
Well, they're also very well made. You can tell that they're not made at a factory. You know what I mean? It's like when you look at that, it's individual beads. It's not just like, oh, printing something, here you go.
Yeah.
You know, like you can tell that. For a minute I was like, I think Susan does them herself.
Girl,
And then I was like, wait, actually, there's a lot of bags that are happening. Like,
I tried to learn. I was like, I need to know how to make it. And for hours and hours I deliberated, and I think I was able to like make this much. It's like such a mind-blowing technique, and I feel like I'm unable to do it. Like, she's an architect, this woman who makes them. Like, it's a genius. It's beyond me. So I have a lot of respect for artisans who can make that.
Has the business grown?
Yeah, I mean, I started just making it for myself, and it's like a mix of luck and fate, right? Like, you never know how things happen. But what happened was that I made this bag for myself. I'd already had a jewelry line, and it was, it was good, but it wasn't like raking it in by any means. I was struggling. So I made a bag. I posted it on Instagram, and people were like freaking out. And I was like, is this like a thing? Like, should I sell these? I just made one. And then I posted it on Instagram, and someone who worked for opening ceremony showed it to the buyers at opening ceremony, and they contacted me, which was, I think I sobbed. I think I cried because it was such such a dream come true moment. And then they placed an order, and I think that they're so amazing. They were so amazing. I don't know what tense we're using for them. R.I.P. Because
forever in our hearts, never forgotten.
Never. I feel like every store, the way it works, it's like such a domino effect. Every store like looks at what stores like OC are doing. Mm-hmm. And then soon came other stores, and it like a business was built. But yeah, so it's grown a lot. So like I said, I used to be in my living room in a very tiny apartment. Now I have like an office and employees, and it's not just me anymore, which is good and hard also.
It's exciting. How many people do you have? How big is your team now?
Well, not including like the ladies who make the bags.
Yeah.
I think it's like 6 people.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
That's crazy. You go, sis.
Thanks, girl.
That gets one of those. That's amazing. I know. Isn't it cool when you have like, I have two girls that work for me, and it's such a trip for me that I'm like, how do
Isn't it
I
weird?
like, it's amazing. It's so cool. And it's amazing to watch them grow. It's just like a whole
Yeah.
thing, you know? It's super
Yeah.
cool.
And it's like, it's the only way you can grow
Yeah.
is by opening up your world to other people.
Do you have investors?
No. So
That's great though. See, this is the thing, and something that I'm been thinking about a lot before this all
yeah.
happened is that there's this whole like there's like two ways of looking at, you know, starting a brand or a line, right? Like there are some people who just go straight into investment explosion and they have
Mhm.
all this money for all this marketing and like all of this shit, it goes
Mhm.
everywhere, right? And then I don't know, either it does well or it stops. Like who knows what happens to it? Depends.
Right.
Some do well, like Glossier, and some don't. I mean, I don't even think I don't know what her investing situation was, but either way, a company who explodes like that. But
Right.
then you have the companies who, you know, start from the ground up. And I've always thought that's the better way to do things, because that you want to like know, is this working, what's working, and like being able to
Yeah.
put your I don't know.
Like I have a lot of thoughts on this,
Okay.
and some of it I will like we'd have to talk off
Yeah, no, I
the
get it. Yeah,
record,
I feel you.
which would be fun. But basically like there's so many things. Not everyone, I was able to start the business and able to do it with the proceeds I had already, not the proceeds, with the money I'd already made from having a jewelry company.
Right.
So it wasn't, and I didn't need a lot to start because I had no office space. I had no employees, and I was only making, since I make stuff in America, which I don't think people outside of fashion get it. Like when you're working overseas, where most of the craftsmanship in the world is, you know, China, India, they have the best skilled workers. It's not just, I mean, there's a lot of other reasons people
Yeah,
work there, but there's a lot of skill. Anyways, you have to buy a bunch, you have to buy a minimum. So you
yeah.
can't just order 5 bags. I'd have to order 500, and that's where you need a lot of money. And marketing is a huge expense, and websites are a huge expense. Anyways, I was able to start really small, and with the manufacturers here, I could be like, I need 3 bags, and I don't have to order any more or any less. So I was really, really lucky, and I know it's not that easy for everybody. But the thing is like I built the company by working so hard at Atlanta. Like, cause I was doing jewelry for years before, but I would every single weekend I'd do like an artisan market. I just would force myself to go out and meet people and make connections. And I think something that's a little bit frustrating to me about companies that just get all this investor money pumped into them is like they sort of buy community. And I think we
Totally.
can feel that as consumers. And I think I'm just bitter. Like if I'm being self-aware, I'm like,
Same.
they didn't have to like schlep their stuff every weekend to like different craft shows and sit there for 10 hours. Like whatever. There's different ways to get to the same endpoint,
Yeah.
but like, and I don't know. Is there a right or wrong? I mean, I have lots of opinions, but that's my story.
No, I
You know,
feel
what do
you.
you
But
think?
well, yeah, also I'm like, there are some things we could talk about off camera, but but I feel you too. But that's what I think is like special about your company, is that it isn't like, I love that the idea of like a bot community. And again, like at the end of the day, a lot of these are businesses. So it makes
Right.
sense, right? That you're going to go in and like put your money and the equivalent of a modern day billboard, which is Instagram and influencers. Like
Mm-hmm.
I get it, you know, like from a business point of view. However, from like a consumer point of view, I see straight through that, where I'm like,
That's
I know,
interesting.
you know, I'm like, I know exactly what's happening here. And the thing that's cool about your brand is it's not like that. It's very like, you can tell, like even when I came to the presentation, like the people who were there were so excited to be there. The whole thing is
Oh,
like so fun. It's so clearly you know, and some of the brands that explode overnight, you know, it's just like, I know exactly what this is. You're just gifting everybody a bunch of stuff, asking them to Instagram it. And then
mm-hmm.
like, you know, and it's you know, your brand might be smaller right now, but that being said, like I think there's something to be said about like really building your community, you know, and then they'll follow you.
I hope so.
I
I mean,
hope so
I feel
too.
that. I know,
Like,
right?
actually, I sure hope so.
I know. No, but I think that especially like we both live in New York and we're inundated with stuff and we're in this world of like, I don't know, a lot of our friends have businesses and we just like see what goes into it.
Yeah.
And I think you have to learn very quickly to be savvy and to like see who you align with. And I think, like I hope I don't know, I just feel like community is so important and like the people who are good in our lives are so important that we need to like continue to support those people and know who to not align ourselves with or be around just for our own mental safety.
Yeah, definitely.
Kind of thing. Yeah.
Did you sort of go out with I mean, I guess maybe it was just more of a vibe that, because, I think some people sort of will like, in businesses, they'll be like, this is the target audience,
Mm-hmm.
and like, this is who we're going to market to, was yours, it seems like maybe yours was just more of like a vibe. Like, I just want to make it's going to make people happy. I'm going to, like whoever likes it, like,
Mm-hmm.
there was none of that kind of, this is what you said really, because it is fashion so exclusive. So it's like you being like, no, I want everyone to like these things. And it really does. I think the thing is about your stuff is it elicits a feeling, right? Which is different from a lot of fashion. And I'm the same way. Like, I like clothes that make me happy. Like I like, as hard as it's been to be in LA, I'm reconnecting with my joy of like prints like this that I can't wear in New York other than like 3 months a year. And it like brings me joy. I'm like, oh my God, this little like vintage dress that I've had here for 8 years. I love it. And it like makes me so happy.
I know. And it's also like, I feel that this conversation, like having this conversation now about this is so funny because I'm not even wearing clothes that I don't even like look at what I put on every day. But like today we're doing this chat and I'm like, I'm going to see my friend Atlanta. So I like put on like jewelry and like this shirt, this vintage shirt. And I'm like, God, sometimes things really do make you feel good.
Definitely.
And they're things, but they can really transform a whole mood.
Definitely. I'm a firm believer in, I say this, that I do think our outsides can inform our insides.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think it's everything, but I also do know that when I put on something that makes me happy, or I put some mascara on, or I put an earring on, whatever it is, I just feel a little better sometimes, like, sure, there are days, like for me, if I don't shower, I just feel like shit all day.
Yeah.
Like, no matter what, you know what I mean? Like if I don't wash my face, I don't feel good.
Yeah. I mean, listen, I think it's a balance between too much identification with what the outsides look like, which is something you're so amazing about talking about. And then like surrendering that what is on the outside isn't really representative of what's on the inside, or is it? I don't know. It's such an interesting question. I feel like what is your stance on it?
No, I think that's exactly it. I think it has to be a combination of things. Even coming out of New York, it's like, well, in general, this whole experience, right? It's removing all of these like, it's the equivalent of like armor that we put on in our, like how we do our makeup, what we wear, what purse, whatever the fuck it is, stuff that like those things don't, make me who I am, but I still have those things. I still care about how I look, like this and that, right? And when you take it away and you're just like, oh yeah, right. Like it's been really nice to reconnect with like all of the sort of like innocence of it, right? Like, and in New York, I find it's very easy to get caught in this fucking hamster wheel of just like, work, look good, you're going to see, keep going on, you go like, you're going to nice restaurants, you're like seeing people all the time. It's just this like rat race, you know what I mean? And it's so like professional all the time. Like anytime you leave your house, you might be getting a job. So, it's like, you don't want to be rolling around in the fucking like sweats for too long. You end up running into someone who you're trying to get hire you and shit.
Of course.
Like, You know, it's like, and then by the way, the one time you leave your house looking like shit is always the time that you run into someone.
And it's always like your ex-boyfriend with their new girlfriend or something. Or like
You
someone
know?
who could hire you for something major.
Yeah, no, 100. And you're like, fuck, fuck, fuck.
No, always. Literally always. And that's like actually the transformation that's happening right now because everyone left New York. I haven't had that. I still run into people, but I'm wearing like a mask, so it doesn't even matter anymore. But I still, yeah, I just wonder if we're going to be able to take this like new gentleness, especially in New York, into our existence and not just forget it very quickly and move on.
Yeah, I know. I hope so. I hope so.
Me too.
It's an interest. It's almost like, and I was talking about this as well. It's like, you know, my peeps out here that, you know, there's so many times that we've thought about making like small changes. Like, okay, let's cook at home more. Let's, you know, we'll go to the grocery store and like do a grocery run, and then we'll like plan dinners and this and that. And then, you know, it's dinner time and we're like, fuck it, I don't want to cook because we've been running around like psychopaths all day. And like the last thing you want to do is cook, right? Like, okay, check. And then just these like habits that we're in that, you know, I feel like it kind of needed this really, really, really abrupt, just like halting of everything, you know? Like, I don't think I would ever be re-questioning and reevaluating everything to this degree if this hadn't happened.
Oh my
You
God.
know, like, and I think it really is, I don't know, like there's definitely a silver lining to this situation that I'm beginning to like come to terms with and look at.
Has this been hard on you? Have you been like, did you struggle a lot with it?
Oh my God, I've been in
Really?
disaster for the first like month.
Because
I've been on an upswing for the last like 10 days, I'm not gonna lie. But before
really?
that, I was like literally a mess. I've
Because
had very bad days.
but like what are the main reasons for it?
So there's this kind of thing of like, you know, it's almost like grief. Bless you, of losing this life that I, you know, I loved, I fostered, I built this like incredible community of friends. And, you know, especially in like the last couple of years since I moved back to New York, like I really developed an amazing group of friends. And Dave and I had our apartment together, and we were like beginning to planning our wedding, and like, you know, just our life of like going to museums, like doing all of these things, and that's gone. And so there's a sadness about that that's hard. Like, you know, it's hard to not be in our home without our things. We came out to LA, and I'm very grateful. I'm, you know, between his brother's house and my mom's house. But, you know, we don't have any privacy really, which is hard. And just the not knowing, like, fuck, what's going to happen.
Yeah.
And for the first like 6 weeks, I was also just like devastated by the amount of people that were dying.
Yeah. It's been heavy. I mean, it's heavy.
It's been really heavy. I kind of got to a point where I had to like, when everything was happening in New York, where it was like every day was like when the deaths were like climbing every day, that was like, so I was so fucked up by that.
Like yeah, I mean, I just feel like there's even an atmospheric heaviness, like even just like everybody's feeling it. But like, I feel, is any part of you just like grateful for the slowdown of it? Like I feel like the pace of life has been so exhausting.
Yeah, no, I know. Yeah, of course. And more so now. I think it's, you know, it's like,
Yeah.
one day you're like, cool, but then on the other day you're like, when am I going to get another job? And then I'm like, fuck, I'm running out of money. Okay, shit, now you know, it's just like juggling both of those because it's all true.
It was so, I mean, I was so scared at the beginning, and not just for everything that you just mentioned, which is just like a grieving of a death of a life that we created, but like, you know, my business is pretty young and there's a lot of people who rely on it. And I was like, what will happen? What I make is not food. It's not an essential. And it's been okay. Like, it's been okay. I had to make some adjustments and cut back hours because I was like, I'd rather you guys have, like, the people who work for me, I'd rather you guys have a limited amount of hours and still some form of income than having to cut jobs altogether. But it is like, it does speak to what you were talking about the show, like, the community. Like, if you have this community that you build, I think people really do want to support. So I've been really lucky that people are still supporting. But yeah, I mean, we just don't know. And like, also, yeah, like retail in general is so different. One of the big stores that stocks my stuff just went bankrupt.
Which one? Neiman's?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
It's a weird world. Like, it's the world that we knew before, I think, will come back, but it will be so different in a lot of ways.
Yeah, I don't know. Anytime like I get to in the future, I have to like pause because I freak out.
As you should.
It's not even, I guess it's, when I say freak out, I just mean like get very sad, aka feel very weighed down.
And
AKA
helpless.
just feel like, well, what's the fucking point? You know, like, yeah, I don't know.
But I think it's like, for me to hear other people, I know we're all in, like, I just feel like more connected to everybody, especially people who I don't know, we're all so in this together. I know that is so overused.
It's true though. No, it's true. It's such a saving. That's what I was saying. It's a universal feeling. It's not, no one is excluded from it. I mean, yes, some people are more affected by this. Like, you know, people of color are, you know, they're getting hit by this way worse than a lot of us, but everyone's feeling this sense of sadness and loss.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And I think, like, even speaking to like people of color, like, I think my wish is that there's a shift because of, like, we're all paying attention to the media more, and maybe eyes will be opened in a different way.
Yeah.
I mean, that's a different subject altogether, but
no, I know. So are you alone over there?
yeah, but with my dog.
Okay, so thank God for him. Okay.
No, but I'm alone, and I'm really, really happy. Like, I'm really happy. I love my apartment, and I love having my own space. I have friends and my sister still in New York, but it's definitely cleared out here.
Has it?
It's kind of great though, because it's like quiet, and
does it feel unsafe?
At night, like, I live in the Lower East Side, and like I said, I live alone, and it's it is a little bit scary at night. It's quiet. You're the only person on the street, which is never like that, you know?
Whoa.
Yeah, it's not.
But in terms of the virus.
What?
In terms of the virus, like, does it feel like controlled?
Oh, that.
You're like, yeah, I got followed home the other night. Like, actually, I'm doing beaded pepper spray holders.
I'm like talking about like creepy guys on the street. Oh. No, so yeah, because it's been a while like this, I feel at first it was so scary to go to the grocery store or leave the house, but it's definitely calmed down. Most people are wearing masks. If they're not, they freaking should be wearing masks. But yeah, everyone's being, in my experience, like, I'm staying distant from people. But yeah, like, I've been to, you know how there are these viral pictures of like all these bros on the West Side Highway, like,
yes,
drinking. Like, that is true. That exists. And it's so like shocking, because New York is so hard hit. But in my little universe in the East Village, Lower East Side, everybody's staying very far and wearing their masks, and I feel fine. I'm not that scared anymore. I was, but I'm not anymore.
Yeah, I feel that. I definitely feel a little less freaked out than I was. Granted, I'm just going in my car, but I was explaining this, that whenever I touch something though, I feel like I see
Yes.
It's like all of a sudden I'm taking a black light to like every surface around me. And then I just feel like if I open a door even, I'm like,
You
I
feel
can't
it.
use this hand or something. Like, it's just fucking crazy.
Is LA feeling weird right now?
Honestly, the thing is, it's already so isolated from
Yeah.
everything that it's like, we're a house in the hills, so I'm not
There's
really
nobody
seeing
around.
too many people anyways,
Yeah. Is it
It's
lonely?
well, I am with Dave and his brother, who like I'm super tight with, so I'm kind of okay. Like Acorn, and then like my dad lives up the street, and I did like a social distance, like, hey, and my mom is here. Like that's kind of why we came out here, because like my whole family is here and Dave's studio is here, and so it was just like better off. But I hear our apartment building is just like empty.
Really?
Yeah,
That's so
apparently
weird,
it's like
right?
cleared out. Yeah, apparently like there's only like 5 people left in the building or something insane, and it's like, yeah, it's crazy.
Yeah, it's so, I mean, I think every conversation with New Yorkers we're like, so are we gonna leave this summer? Like, what's the deal? And nobody really knows what the deal is.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, we're even like, what are we gonna do with our apartment? Are we keeping it? Like, what's happening? Like
Yeah, it's so many unknowns.
so many cues.
It's every day is a new day,
Every
girl.
day is a new cue. That's a good question. So what have you been working on? Like, were the plans that you had sort of like, put up on pause? Like, I feel like you were making some clothes. Did I see
Yeah.
some clothing moments happening?
Yeah. Yes, that is on hold. I was working like new fabrications of bags, like different, like just completely different, like vegan leather and
Oh, wow.
yeah. There's some, I wish I could show you, dog accessories,
I can't wait for that.
yeah, it's, all of that's on pause. And then I was looking into opening a store. That's on pause. And it's all fine. Like, it's all fine. I've totally surrendered. And I'm just making do with like what I have on hand. And so, for example, last week I made these things called bead boxes because everyone's at home. So they're like,
Oh,
kit.
yeah, I saw
Yeah.
that. So
Um,
cute.
Yeah, so that we just launched and we're working on masks, which are
I was gonna say, so when are the masks
so,
coming?
girl,
They're so cute.
so
You
cute.
have to send me a text of a photo
Oh,
of them.
yes, you will. I'm going to send you an actual mask. They're like beaded and they're
Oh my
covered in
God.
flowers and they're like, I mean, they're really fun because I feel like the mask is obviously like now a staple in our wardrobe. And we're gonna have like, I have like 4 different masks already for different moods, but
We have to do it.
you know,
Well,
it's,
no, I'll be okay. I have 1, 2, I have 4 too.
I mean,
3 of which are Hello Kitty, and then like
of
one that's
course.
like.
Of course they are. So yeah, no, I mean, I'm working on things that are like, I designed a bag, which we're still in the process of sampling it, but like, that will have a little compartment for your Purell. Like, so it's like, I think we just need to be responsive to what's going on. And then I've been doing, since I have more time, I've been doing like these little, and all the restaurants are closed. I've been having people send me what their favorite food is that they can't get at a restaurant. And then they buy it and I donate all the proceeds to No Kid Hungry. And now I'm like, where else should we be donating? Like, I don't know. I feel like there's all these other questions, but yeah, so I've been working on that. I'm working on this big charity project that's about to come to life. I'll tell you more about that later. But yeah, I'm just like trying to be more like redirecting my energy to like what's actually happening in the world.
Yeah, I was gonna say, what are you doing to stay sane in your apartment over there?
Oh my God, like, girl, I like read now.
Oh, I mean, I'm a huge reader, so
How do you have time?
I am reading way more now, obviously. It used to take me, when Dave would go out of town, I'd read a lot because like
That's
obviously when he's gone. Now I just take more time to read, but I'm a huge reader.
It's
I love it.
Doesn't it just like, I forgot how it enriches yourself, like your person.
It's also just such a nice change from phones, technology, everything. Like, it's just nice to be consuming something not from a screen.
It is so important. So yeah, like I've been doing a lot of art. I've been cooking, going on lots of walks. And then I'm having like conversations where I'm really present. Do you feel like you're more present?
I'm always pretty present.
Yeah, that's true.
That's like one of
all right.
that one I'm pretty good at. But what do you read? What was the last thing you read that you loved?
So I've become really obsessed with old cookbooks from like the 80s and 70s, and I'm just searching on eBay for new cookbooks every day. But I'm actually reading, I know this is very late, but I'm reading the Elena Ferrante.
Oh, My Brilliant Friend. Right. There you go.
Oh no.
No, it's fine. The Elena, My Brilliant Friend, right? Is that it? Yeah. Okay.
Have you read them?
I tried, and it was like too much. It was like, honestly, it was dense, and
oh my God,
like, I couldn't commit at the time.
So I watched the HBO shows first, and the visual, like I started the novel.
It was like, no, this person, nah, this, and I was like, this is too many characters. Are the same. Yeah, exactly. Yes.
I don't know how people read it without watching the show first, because there are 70 million characters and their names are all the same.
Yeah, and that's what I meant. I was like, this is a lot.
It was too much, but now that I have, like, I can be like, oh, I know who Leela is and Lena. Yeah, so I've been reading that, and it's been a pleasure.
Okay, I love it.
And I go onto my roof when it's nice out, which has been twice in all of 2020, and I read it, and it's like healing. It's so great. But yeah.
Okay, that's great. Right now, well, I actually started reading, what did I finish? I read this book called The Silent Patient, which was really fun. I've been trying to read books that aren't like too intense, you know, just like escapist shit. So this one was about like, you know, a woman who murders her husband and gets put in a psych ward and like goes mute for years, and like kind of a thriller. And then I read this book called Educated. Have you heard of that? It was like a big book. Her name's Tara Westover.
Oh yeah, I feel like I've been seeing people on Instagram reading.
It's like all over the world.
Yeah, it's like
kind of a thing. But yeah, and that one's intense. It's pretty, like, she comes from a pretty, like, you know, very religious Mormon, like, survivalist family who, like, she doesn't go to school or anything, and like she's in a lot of abuse. Like, it's very intense. She ends up going to Harvard, so like happy ending. However, like reading that with like everything that was going on, I was like, and then now I'm reading this one called The Glass House or something.
Oh,
it's like
I
thriller
read that.
or something. You read it?
I think so. Maybe I'm thinking of The Glass Castle or something.
I think no, it's like the thriller, right?
No, this was about like a traumatic childhood.
I think this could be about a traumatic childhood. Like the guy is like a drug addict and like kills someone or something.
No,
okay.
This wasn't what I read, but that sounds like it could be like a really great escape from.
Okay. And so what's your favorite, what's the best thing that you're cooking right now? Like what's kind of been your cooking vibe?
Oh, okay. This is hard. Well, I've rediscovered like the beauty of bread. I'm pretty much gluten-free, but I've been dabbling with bread. And I've been making these like divine sandwiches with like fresh dill and tomato and avocado and feta, and like I've just been enjoying eating so much. And for dinner, I make a lot of gluten-free pasta with vegetables. And yeah, it's been dinner and lunch are the best part of my day. Oh. I'm loving it. Are you cooking too?
Yeah, we haven't ordered food in like weeks.
Are you a cook?
This is the secret thing about me is I'm not, but I'm low-key very good when I cook. Like I'm the kind of person though, like I can't just like whip something up, like,
Uh-huh.
oh, we have this in the fridge, like whatever. Me, I commit to like a 4-hour recipe where I'm like making like slow cooked lamb, like, lamb rumps and like crazy stews. Like I made some like Korean glass noodle dish the other night. I like also like spicy. I like curries and like stir
Yeah.
fries and stuff like that.
Have you been like enjoying it so much, the cooking?
I think yes, but the problem for me is that I'm such a perfectionist that I'm like, if I fuck up, then I'm like so anxious about it and I want it to be perfect. So then I'm like micromanaging, like how fast I'm cooking the onions, how long has been, I missed this time. Like I'm a little too anxious. I look forward to the time where I'm able to just sort of like, be like a little more carefree about it. I'm like, not there yet.
It's hard. It's really hard. Like I did also experiment with some recipes that failed, and it was I like didn't want to cook for a while. Like it was, and it's like it's like I thought I could do this. But I'm gonna try. I'm gonna keep trying. I'm not a baker at all. Like I can't. I can't do baking.
I love baking. Honestly, I did a lot of like baking for Dave because he like was, paleo for a while and like sugar free. But honestly, everything is so expensive. I'm like, I can't be buying like almond flour things every time like we do that. But there's 3 of us here. It's like also we're not going to the store regularly. We need shit that's gonna keep. It's just kind of like a little too prissy for me to be like, okay, we're only getting coconut flour, almond things. Like I'm just like, I don't care. Just like give us food.
Does Dave cook too?
He started to.
I mean, here we are.
I know. Like, and now we like never want to go. We're like, I don't want to go to restaurants.
I mean, I wonder what's going to happen because I know. I ordered takeout twice.
That's about where we're at too. Yeah. Like,
yeah,
literally. It's crazy. It's great though. I do love that part about it.
And like, I feel like it's just like good. I feel like we're eating cleaner just because we know what's going into our body more. I mean, I'm eating a lot more. I mean, I have dessert for lunch and for dinner.
No, I get it. Trust me. Totally understand. I also think in New York, we're so psycho that we don't eat all day, just like accidentally, because we're just like running around doing 1,000 things that like, all of a sudden we're like, oh, we got time for breakfast, got time for lunch, got time for dinner and dessert and like second dinner. Second lunch.
I'm eating, first of all, I'm going to bed at 10 o'clock.
I love that.
I wake up at 6:30.
That's amazing.
Fine. And I'm not really drinking. I mean, I just feel like I'm a lot cleaner in some ways. And then I'm eating 2 dinners at the same time. So, I mean, whatever.
I'm loving it.
I'm trying to
yeah, go for it. Okay, well, so those are the things that Susan's doing to stay safe. She's cooking a lot and eating a lot. She is reading.
And just like
and painting and going on a lot of walks. Is that the art you mean? Like you're painting or like what kind of art are you doing?
Oh, so yeah, I'm just painting a lot and then I'm making these like mini foods all day long.
Because you're making them out of
clay and then I paint the clay. Oh. Yeah. And so I'm selling them on my website and I think I've sold over 100 at this point. And at first I was like, this is like my favorite thing in the world to do. Like I might as well like selling them not for that expensive and then donating all the proceeds. And now I've like shot myself in the foot because I'm like, I was doing this for fun and now it's not that fun anymore, but whatever. It's going to charity. It's not fun when you have to like,
I know.
Have to do something, but it is what it is. But
yeah, I know.
Anyways, yeah, so I've been really busy and like again, when you go to bed at 10.
What is this? Are you you're moving it around. I think you're covering the microphone. Mom,
Can you hear
there
me?
you go. Now I can. It's okay. That was the only other time it said it. It's fine.
You got all the details down though. You got all the information. Yeah. Yeah. When are you coming back?
I don't know, dude. I have no fucking clue. It's upsetting, but
I know.
Just gonna take it like one day at a time, try and, like enjoy the sun out here in the nature while I can, and then who knows, we'll figure it out, I guess. Or it'll figure us out.
Yeah, like we don't have any choice right now.
Nope. Well, shit. Thank you so much for doing this. I'm so happy we got to do it.
Me too. And thank you. I'm so honored. I've been a fan of your podcast for a long time. So I'm really happy to be a part of it.
Yeah, it's going to be good. I'm excited.
Me too.
You're like a bringer of joy.
I adore you.
Mm-hmm.
You have acorn a kiss for me.
What?
You have acorn a kiss.
Oh, I will, but tell me when I can get him a collar. And also before you go, we have to take screenshots. Hang on. So don't move yet. But please let me know when can we get dog collars? Like
so I was just going to say to you, like, which one do you want? But then I realized that you have the leopard bag, so Acorn should have the leopard collar, right?
Maybe something a little more masculine.
Hey, that's the masculine.
Okay, fine.
Wait, look at the site and tell me what you're thinking.
Okay, I will. I actually asked my stepdad or my mom, they wanted to get me something for my birthday, and I sent them all stuff from your website, but then I think they like weren't able to get it or something happened, but there was some jewelry in there. It's really good. Like all of it. I love it.
Why don't you tell me these things?
Because I don't know. My thing right now is I want to support my friends, where as well, like we're so in the world of like gifting and this and that I'm also just like, having even put out my own merch and shit, like, people just being like, I want one. And I'm like, well, I paid for it with my own money. Can you buy one? So
I know it's
I'm
hard
into like wanting to also buy things and support, because I think it's like in our world, it's very easy to just be like, I want one.
Well, I get it. No, I know. But
maybe it'll be like buy one, get one free.
No, kind of, yes. But
or discount.
Well, just whatever. Just tell me what Acorn wants, and then you're going to have to tell me what Acorn's neck length is as well. Okay? Because I know he's a little bigger than my son, Pidge. So
he is definitely a little bigger than Pidge. He's probably like 14 pounds.
Oh, big boy.
See, I have to take him out. Okay. Well, don't go anywhere, but thank you so much. And I'll speak to you soon.
Okay. Thank you.
Be sure to share, subscribe, and follow us on Instagram at I'm Over It Podcast or me at Atlanta Bean. I've also launched a Patreon if you really, really love I'm Over It. So head over to www.patreon.com/I'm Over It. Until next time.